The Sajni murder case. A shocking tale of 15 years of silence and a stolen identity. Valentine's Day, February 14, 2003. A morning of terror, not love. Valentine's Day is globally celebrated as a day of love and romance. But in one quiet lane in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, the morning of February 14, 2003 was anything but romantic. Instead of roses and affection, there was a deathly silence. A silence that screamed of a hidden horror. Inside her modest home lay 26-year-old Sajni, a newlywed, lifeless. Her face bore no signs of struggle. It looked as though she had merely fallen asleep. But the dupatta tightly knotted around her neck told a different tale, one of a brutal and merciless end. The news of Sajni's death first reached her father, O.K. Krishna, through a call from her husband, Tarun Kumar. Tarun claimed that there had been a robbery in their home and during the chaos, someone had murdered Sajni. Shocked and terrified, Krishna rushed to his daughter's house with some relatives. What they witnessed upon opening the door was a scene that would haunt them forever. The home was ransacked, household items scattered across the floor, and in the middle of it all, Sajni's lifeless body. In one corner sat Tarun, crying uncontrollably, repeating, "I couldn't do anything. I couldn't save her." The police were summoned, and a crime scene team arrived promptly to begin the investigation. At first glance, the case appeared to be a robbery gone wrong, but soon details began to surface that transformed this seemingly straightforward crime into something far more sinister. Initial suspicion, a dog that wouldn't stop barking. Sajni's body was sent for post-mortem, and police began routine questioning of Tarun. He appeared shaken, grief-stricken. But something unexpected shifted the mood at the crime scene. The police had brought along a trained sniffer dog, one with an impressive record of solving high-profile cases. As soon as it entered the house, it started barking not at the crime scene, not at the scattered furniture, but directly at Tarun. The officers tried to dismiss it as a coincidence. After all, Tarun was visibly distressed. However, a seed of suspicion had been planted, and the very next day, on February 15, Tarun vanished from the hospital where he had been kept for observation. This disappearance changed everything. The man the police had initially seen as a grieving husband might in fact be the killer. The long chase begins. Multiple police teams were deployed to search for Tarun, but it was as if he had evaporated into thin air. No footprints, no messages, no sightings. O.K. Krishna and his family finally filed a formal murder complaint against Tarun. In 2004, a few of Tarun's close relatives were subjected to lie detector tests. However, nothing substantial came out of it. The investigation lost momentum, and soon the case began to gather dust in the cold file. But Krishna wasn't ready to let go. In 2006, driven by a desperate desire for justice, he sought an audience with the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi. After considerable effort, Krishna finally got a meeting. He poured out the entire story about his daughter's murder, the missing husband, and the stalled investigation. Moved by the father's plea, Modi instructed senior police officers to reopen the Sajni murder case immediately. A new leadership, a renewed effort. The reopened case was handed over to Joint Commissioner Sharma. Despite renewed efforts, years passed with no progress. Tarun had seemingly disappeared forever. Then, in 2012, a fresh investigative team was formed under the leadership of DCP Dinanath Dhanarajan. His approach was different, calculated, patient, and meticulous. The new team's first target was Tarun's inner circle, especially his mother, Anama, and his brother. Their mobile phones were put under surveillance. Thousands of call records were analyzed, but Tarun remained a ghost. Taking the investigation a step further, an undercover officer moved into Anama's home as a paying guest. The goal was simple: to observe, listen, and wait in hopes that Anama might unknowingly say something that could reveal her son's whereabouts. That decision would change everything. The mystery of Bengaluru. The undercover officer slowly began befriending neighbors. One neighbor casually mentioned that Anama had two sons, one who lived in Ahmedabad and another somewhere in South India. It was a small detail, but one that shifted the direction of the investigation. Anama's phone remained under surveillance. For months, there was no unusual activity. But one day, a call came from a number registered under the name Nisha Parveen, a woman based in Bengaluru. Shortly after, Anama received a call from a landline registered to Oracle India Private Limited, a major tech company. The police immediately dispatched a team to Oracle's Bengaluru office. They requested the employee list all 35, zero names, and combed through every single one, but there was no Tarun Kumar. So, the officers tried a different tactic. They showed Tarun's old photographs to security guards and staff standing outside the building. Days passed with no result, until one day a security guard paused and said, "I think I've seen someone who looks like him inside." The man named Parveen Batale. Oracle's records revealed the name of the person the guard had seen, Parveen Batale. The investigators quickly realized the truth. Tarun had not just disappeared. He had erased himself, and then he had created a brand new identity. A plan was put in place. Inspector Anil Chaudhary of the Ahmedabad crime branch entered Oracle's premises in plain clothes. He walked straight into a cabin and said calmly but firmly, "Hello, Mr. Tarun." The man sitting behind the desk froze. The color drained from his face. For 15 years, no one had called him by that name. Inspector Chaudhary grabbed his wrist and whispered, "The game is over. You're coming with us." The collapse of a web of lies. After his arrest, Tarun confessed everything. The truth was more shocking than anyone had imagined. He had never wanted to marry Sajni. Their marriage was arranged, and his heart belonged to someone else, a girlfriend he had been dating for years. On Valentine's Day 2003, he had promised her the biggest gift of her life. That gift was Sajni's murder. He strangled Sajni with a dupatta, carefully staged the house to look like a robbery, and called her father, pretending to be devastated. Then he fled to meet his girlfriend, hoping to finally start a life with her. But when he told her what he had done, she threw him out of her house. A new identity, a new life. With nowhere to go, Tarun turned to an old college junior named Parveen Batale, who was running a coaching center. Tarun begged for help, and Parveen gave him a job as an English teacher. Over time, Tarun gained Parveen's trust. One night, he secretly scanned Parveen's documents, certificates, and even his photo ID. He replaced Parveen's photo with his own and built an entirely fake identity under the same name. Using those forged documents, Tarun created a whole new life passport, Aadhaar, PAN card, everything. In 2012, he moved to Bengaluru, where he secured a high-paying job at Oracle India. A new wife, a new family. In Bengaluru, Tarun, now Parveen, met a woman named Nisha Parveen. He told her that his parents had died in a tragic car accident. Believing his story, Nisha married him. They moved into a luxurious apartment. Tarun had become a husband again, and this time, a father too. They had 2 children together and lived what seemed like the perfect family life. But it was all a lie. Every piece of their world was built on deception. And finally, after 15 long years, that lie came crashing down. Justice delivered. Tarun was arrested in October 2018. After being presented in court, he was sent to judicial custody. Since then, he has made repeated attempts to secure bail on various grounds, but each time the court has rejected his plea. When the case finally reached its conclusion, it made headlines across India. The Ahmedabad police were widely praised for their relentless pursuit of justice, a 15-year-long mission that finally brought peace to a grieving family. The final question. As Tarun was being led away in handcuffs, he looked back and asked the police just one question. "How did you find me?" The answer came without hesitation. No matter how deep the truth is buried, when the police are determined, they will pull the criminal out even from the depths of hell.